So the question often comes up as to whether it makes sense to use your 401k or your IRA to invest in real estate. I've been using my retirement accounts to invest in real estate for years, and I believe there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and I'm going to break it down in this video. I'm Kirby Atwell, and this is Living Off Rentals. And if you've seen any of our previous videos, then you know that we firmly believe that high quality rental properties are the best investment a person can make. That's not just a tagline. That's something I firmly believe because of the massive positive impact that rental properties have had on my family's financial future. And one of the strategies that I've used over the years to capture some of that positive financial impact is buying rental properties through my self-directed IRA. Now, many people don't realize that you don't have to just invest in stocks or mutual funds through your IRA account. Whoever holds your account isn't really going to be incentivized to tell you this, because any money that they're not managing, they're not really making a fee on. So they're not going to tell you that you can take those funds and go invest in whatever you want. But the fact of the matter is, you can self-direct your IRA account, and you can invest in collectibles, you can invest in art, you can invest in Bitcoin, you can invest in almost anything you want to. And yes, you can invest in real estate using your IRA funds. You can even invest in a property like this, an Airbnb property, and all of that income is all tax-free going into your IRA account. I definitely recommend you do more research and you talk to your accountant before you self-direct your IRA, because like anything that the IRS is going to give you a tax break on, there's definitely specific rules that you need to follow when it comes to this. However, there's two main guiding principles that will really help you keep this straight in your mind as you're self-directing your IRA. Number one is that these funds have to be kept totally separate from any other funds you have. So you can't move it in your checking account and then invest. It has to be kept in a separate custodial account. There's account holders that will do this for you, and it can't benefit you. Those funds can't benefit you until you're in retirement age. So in other words, you can't go out and buy a house and then rent it to yourself or rent it to a close family member. That's not gonna work. It has to be a totally separate investment that doesn't bring you any benefit until you're in retirement, because that's the whole point of a retirement account. There are definitely other details, but these are the two big things to keep in mind as you move forward. Now, why do I think it's so great to invest in real estate through your IRA? My wife and I have been investing in real estate using our IRA for the last several years, and it's helped us accumulate a pretty nice nest egg. The IRS right now allows you to invest $6,000 per year into your IRA. So by buying real estate that provides above average returns, or sometimes even you find a deal that's way above average, you can really supercharge your IRA account so that it grows exponentially faster than it would have if you were just investing in a steady mutual fund. The government even allows you to leverage your IRA. So let's say you have $50,000 in your IRA account and you find a property that costs $100,000. You can go out and take a loan to your IRA to purchase that property. So you can borrow $50,000 more into your IRA, and you can buy a property that's worth $100,000 with only $50,000 of your own money in your retirement account. This is actually how I got started buying properties in my IRA, because I had a pretty small balance in my IRA account to start with. But I came across this incredible deal that was, way under market value. And I realized if I could buy this property in my IRA, then all the upside is going to be totally tax-free. So I was able to take a private loan from a family member into my IRA. I bought the property and then I started renting that property. So all the rent, and eventually when I sold that property a few years later for a big gain, all that gain was tax-free as well. Now, there is some small tax that you do have to pay when you borrow money into your IRA, but it's a lot less than you would pay if you bought that property outside of your IRA. So you can start to see that there are some pretty big benefits to investing in real estate using your IRA. So why is it then that some people feel that it doesn't make sense to use your IRA funds to buy real estate? Well, beyond the obvious arguments like, you can't withdraw the funds until you're in retirement, 59 and a half is the age when you can start withdrawing these funds, or that you have to be careful and not commingle the funds like we already talked about. There is another reason that a lot of people argue against buying real estate specifically in an IRA. In order to maximize the returns you get on a rental property, you want to take advantage of the significant tax write-offs that you can get each year when you file your tax returns. The biggest of which a lot of times is the depreciation, especially on big deals where you can write off a whole chunk of the value of that deal against other income that you might have that year. So if you think about it, you lose this ability when you buy a piece of real estate in an account that's already tax sheltered, like an IRA. You do get the advantage of not paying taxes on the income from that building, like the rent or the profit when you sell the property, but the entire time you own the property, you can't write off that depreciation against your other income on a yearly basis. So does this mean that you shouldn't use your IRA to invest in real estate? Not so fast. I believe that there is still a really smart way that you can buy real estate through your IRA and not really give up much of that depreciation that we just talked about. We've been able to build up our account pretty quickly by buying affordable value-add deals that cash flow really well. For example, if you were able to find a $40,000 property that was pretty beat up and you put another $30,000 into it, and because of those improvements that you did to it, it's now worth $100,000. So you built in a bunch of equity through your rehab. And let's say that property rents for about $1,200 a month. Those are the typical types of properties that we really target in our IRA. The reason that we target that type of property is because the basis, what you have into that property, is so low compared to the high cash flow that you're receiving, and also the big equity spread that you created by doing the rehab on that property. So both of those things, the cash flow and the equity spread, that profit that you built in, that extra $30,000 from the rehab, those are both tax-free now. So every time a tenant makes a deposit, pays their rent, and that's deposited into your IRA, that money is tax-free, and you can use it now to invest in something else, and it just keeps compounding. That's tax-free, and then when you eventually sell that property, all the equity is tax-free as well. So that's a pretty significant tax savings compared to the small write-off on a small basis of, a pretty inexpensive property, because that initial $70,000 that you put into that property, if you depreciate it over 27 and a half years, which is what the IRS lets you do, it's a very small write-off every year, a very small tax savings compared to the really significant tax savings that you're going to get from the cash flow and the profit when you sell that property from your IRA. So over the last several years, we've just replicated this over and over, where we're buying these very affordable value-add properties and just adding them to the IRA. So you can see how this really helps you supercharge your IRA much quicker than if you were just investing in a mutual fund that sort of plotted along at the typical 8% return or whatever it is these days. We use Midland IRA as our custodian to hold our IRA funds, and I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check them out, but there's a lot of IRA custodians that will do this for you. They'll hold it and they just charge, usually it's a small transaction fee each time you buy a new property or withdraw any funds. So I hope this video has been helpful for you as you're trying to identify how to use the funds from an old 401k that might be sitting there from a previous job, or a Roth IRA that's not making the type of returns that you were hoping for. And I'm always willing to answer any further questions. You can join the Living Off Rentals Facebook group. That's the best place to ask, because I'll chime in, other really smart real estate investors will chime in there. So just go over to Facebook, search Living Off Rentals, and the group will pop right up. Also, if you did enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up on the video and hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when new videos come out. We release videos on a weekly basis on this channel. So I hope to see you in the Facebook group, but if not, I will see you in the next video.